All right, now it's time to apply. So let's get started. We're gonna do our 3D foundation in one layer today, or as close to one layer as we can. Our face is not one-dimensional, so I don't like putting just a whole pancake color on there and making it look flat. We have dimension. Our face is dynamic. It's got shadows and light, and we want to emphasize that, hence the 3D foundation. Okay, so depending on what collection you got, or if you built your own palette, you chose your brush, you might have gotten the 3D brush, or you might have gotten the detail brush and the blush bronzer brush. So I'll give you an idea of how to use these. I also really love the blend brush because it's a really light airbrush finish and works really well around the eye area. And I also like the smudge brush because sometimes I draw my lines and put my colors on with just a small brush, and then I blend it with one of the other options. So there's lots of ways to do it. It's hard to mess it up. It's cream makeup, so it moves around until you set it, which makes it really easy to apply and correct any mistakes as you go. Let's see. Also, you can do your brightening shade first, or your main shade first, or your contour shade first. So I think today I'll start with the contour shade, which is the darker color in your palette, right? One of the darker colors. And maybe I'll show you, you know what? I'm gonna start with a brighter shade. You know what? I think I'm going to actually do a little demonstration. If you have the detail brush or the small end of the 3D brush, if you have a darker highlight color for camouflaging, for color correcting, you can do that color first. You just tap in and very lightly the spots that need color correcting, like blemishes, age spots, dark circles, you would just dab a little bit on those. You don't have to blend yet. Blending, we'll do that in another video. So just kind of tap your camouflage color, if you have one, on those spots that need a little extra filtering, color correcting. All right, nothing crazy. Little bit of product goes a long way because these shades are mostly pigment, like 90%. So that's part of the learning curve. If you're used to traditional makeup, is using too much product. And I can show you the right amount to use, which you don't want to see any clumping in your bristles. It's mostly, with most of the brushes, a pressing motion, not just like a let's go and wipe it on, you know what I'm saying? Anyhow, a lot of color correcting can just be done with your main shade, but if you needed some extra help, you probably got a darker shade for color correcting, and you would just kind of lightly dab that on first, okay? Now next, side note, before I even get started, I always use our brush cleanser. It's waterless. I take a microfiber cloth. I spray either the brush or the cloth directly. Either way is fine. And I just take the dirty brush, I swirl it on the cloth. Okay? Like, look at that. It all just came right off. The brush is now clean. It's completely dry and ready to use. So I swear by this stuff. It conditions the bristles, keeping them nice and makes them last a long time. It also disinfects, removes bacteria and everything, because I don't have time for breakouts, right? So that's a must for me. I always start with that before I get started. So next, I'm gonna take the same brush, whether you have this one or this one, the smaller or pointier end, and I'm gonna take the brightening shade. It's either, well, it's lighter than your main shade. Some people also get an extra pop, so more on that later. So the brightening shade is gonna go in the center of your face. We're drawing light in, okay? So I like to just put it down the center of my nose, the inner corners of my eyes, the outer corners of my eyes. A little lifting action. Center of my forehead. I like to pop a little in my upper brow bone area. A little bit like under my nose above my lip, and a tiny bit in the center of my chin. I even just a light amount, draw these like diagonal lines right here. I don't know, if you can get a little lift with your makeup, why not? A lifted look, right? Anyhow, here and here, I'll do that usually. You can do it right under where you would do contour to like brighten that up. Anyhow, I barely put any product there because I do like a sharp contour, but it's optional, right? Okay, so that was the brightening shade. Now we're gonna do our contour. Remember, find the order that works best for you. I'm gonna take this, you can either use the bigger end of this brush, the 3D brush, at an angle, just jab it in your contour, and you're gonna follow your cheekbone, okay? I really love using the detail brush for this because it has a nice sharp edge, okay? So I jab that corner in and I just draw my line, and it's on the hard part of your cheekbone, not the squishy part underneath, not where it's gonna be soft and squishy, right above it. So draw your line there. You can also use the small end of this brush and draw the lines on. You can use the smudge brush or your finger and draw these lines on. I just am showing you my preferred way. So you start kind of where your ear meets your face, and you do a little swoop and cut and draw a line right there on your cheekbone. Whatever's gonna emphasize your natural bone structure. And also, you know, dark absorbs light, so it just helps define the shadows of your face so that you can see your features. Okay, the next line goes, and when you do it this way and you're not like drawing a line dark like you would with your finger or a small brush, you just kind of follow your hairline temple to temple, right? Let me look in here. I want to make sure it's dark enough for you to see. This is very buildable. You don't have to do it dark, but if you go too dark on accident, it blends and shears out really easily, so no frets. All right, that's the other line. So your cheekbones, your forehead, and then you do your jaw. You like follow your earlobe on the bone all the way to your other earlobe, basically. All right. And like I said, you can use a small end and actually draw them on. You know what I'm saying? I like to like drag it a little bit on the sides of my, not too much product, remember, on the sides of my throat. And this is an extra step. I like to trace around my lips. It just kind of creates a fuller appearance. This will all blend together seamlessly, so trust the process. I know it looks like I got into some like chocolate or something. All right, another optional step is to use this as a stamp and do it down the top of your nose, 2 parallel lines, okay? The top. If we do it on the sides of our nose, it will make our nose look wider. So let's just, there we go. If you don't have this brush, you can use your fingers. You would just dip your pinky in there, rub your pinkies together, and then drag them down or up, whichever works best for you, and then connect them to your brow. You can use your finger for that if you don't have this brush. Just connect it up to your brow and at the tip, all right? There's lots of ways we can get real detailed with this, but I like to keep it fairly simple. This is supposed to be simplifying our makeup routine, and once you play with it more, you'll get better at it and you'll figure out what you love, and it'll become very easy for you. I like to do a little here. I have a shadow there in my eye socket. Why not emphasize that shadow too? You know what I'm saying? All right. Kind of blended that as I applied it. And that's great even if like you're not wearing eyeshadow, just to kind of bring some color, some depth to your eyes. Anyhow, next we got our lip and cheek shades. I have these two colors in this palette, Black Cherry and Frenchie. I usually start with the dark color. And put the lighter color in the center for a more ombre look. You can take your contour or your bronzer if you have one, and you can actually line your lips with like a smaller brush. We have this multitasker brush that works really well, just to make the edge even darker and then the center's lighter, and it creates like an ombre lip that's really nice. I do the same on my cheeks. I start with the darker color in the back. Okay, right above my contour is where I do my lip and cheek colors. If you have bronzer and you were applying it in this one layer fashion, you would take it and put it right above that, like right here, right under your contour here, like where the sun would hit. Makes sense? But we'll get to the extras in another video. Oh, and a quick thing, if you're not doing any other eyeshadow look, you're welcome to also pop our lip cheek colors on your eyes to give a little interest or color to your eyes. I also use my bronzer for that oftentimes. So anywho, super versatile makeup. Now that you have all these colors on, you can dip into your main highlight shade with the small end of the brush or the pointy end of the 3D brush. And you just fill in the blanks. Like I said, paint by numbers, one layer, right? Just apply it everywhere else that you didn't already put a color. Whoops, I don't want to get too close into my lip cheek shade. All right, let's not forget the top and sides of our forehead. And that's about it. Whatever's left on my brush, I might get a little bit there. I think I got everywhere. Really quick before I forget, for those of you who do have a third shade that's lighter than your other two, the extra pop, you can do this step now. You can take the small end of your detail brush, or you can take the pointy end of the 3D brush, and you just dip it in that color, and you can just dab a little bit extra of the extra brightening right in the corners here, okay? Here and here, just to help keep it nice and bright in the under eye area when you blend it. You can even do that a little bit here and down the nose if you want, or Cupid's bow, brow bone, whatever. You can do this step now, or you can do it after you blend and just brighten up the under eye area after you have like your lip and cheek color on. Or you can do it later if you're wearing an eye color. You can put it on to just clean up your eyeshadow under your eyes and brighten it back up before you set. All right, stay tuned for the next video in the series where I show you how to blend this all out. Thanks again for watching.